ever see one of those on our channel, I swear to God, it's used from a still frame shot somewhere throughout the video. Probably, maybe. I don't know, might have tried it once or twice. It's hard to get views these days on YouTube, folks. This is a Heretic review. It's spoiler-free for A24's Not the Heretic. I keep wanting to say that. Heretic. I keep wanting to say The Heretic, but it's also got nothing to do with The Exorcist 2, that flaming piece of hot dog trash. Heretic stars Hugh Jackman. Fart! This is a movie by A24. It's one of those festival darlings that comes out, everyone's pooping their pants over it, and you gotta go into these movies obviously with the right expectations because, you know, how things get blown up, made to seem like they're the greatest movie of the decade and stuff like that, when it's like, it's pretty good. And when that happens, there's no in between, you know? It's like the fear and love thing in Donnie Darko. It's like, life doesn't work that way. You can't just pick fear or love on this stupid thing. And then you tell her to insert the fear and love exercise into her anus. And she gets upset about it. If you haven't seen Donnie Darko, I look like a psychopath right now. I probably do anyway. I'm used to it. It's fine. The movie's directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who wrote A Quiet Place and who did direct 65, starring Adam Driver, which I didn't see. Neither did you. Who are we kidding? And but they've done some really good stuff before, and I think you can add this. I think this is they wrote and directed this, and I think that makes this the best thing that they've done, because the entire thing, man, I think it is being a little bit overblown because there are issues with it, which we'll get into, but this entire thing is just so well crafted and well made and just tight. Like, the writing's really good. Again, a couple parts here and there, but the writing's really, the dialogue is so good in this movie, and the direction, the cinematography, the audio, just the editing, everything. This is just a tight ship. It's one of those movies you just sit back, and it kind of takes up the characteristics of the house that the movie takes place in. It's old wooden mahogany, and you can hear every creak in it, and everything's just, it's just a comfortable place to be. Calling something old wooden mahogany probably doesn't make it sound that cool, but it is. Like, it's all so detailed, and it's such a comfortable place to spend an awkward 2 hours, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Just the sound design, the acting, the dialogue, the camera direction, it's all just so tight and well done, and it's just an impressive feat of filmmaking as far as that stuff goes for itself. But the movie itself, I'll be super vague about the plot or whatever, because obviously this is the kind of movie you want to go into knowing as little as possible. You don't want to spoil it for yourself. Ooh, by the way, these mugs with this design and shirts and hoodies and all sorts of accoutrements available at the description in the link belowski. They're made here in this house, in our home. They will smell of my hair product. I'm not selling it very well. Anyway, Hugh Grant, amazing in this movie. He's this just dude who lives in a house who calls upon these two girls from the Church of Latter-day Saints. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Two of those people who walk around door to door trying to give you Bibles and stuff. One time we were passing a couple of them. These were actual Mormons, I think. And some people will judge me for this. Other people will think it's funny, and I think it's funny. We're driving through town, me and my friends are, and I see a couple of Mormons over there, and I go, you know what would be funny is if I tell them that my mom, who's at home right now, has been wanting to talk to them. So I pulled over, rolled down my window, I was like, can you guys go to this address? This lady's super interested, she wants to hear it, and don't let her tell you no, because she's bashful. And that was probably very rude of me to do to their day. Anyway, that's what these two girls do, and they're played by Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, and oh my God, the trio of people in this movie, I guess you could say there's sort of a fourth person in the movie, which is Topher Grace of all people, who just like works at the church that the girls are at. It's hard to even tell it's Topher Grace. It's like, Venom, holy shit, that's weird, that's crazy, that's you. Also, why did you ever play Venom? That was so dumb, and it makes me question everything. It's basically these three throughout the whole movie for the most part, and everyone in the movie is so good. Like, Sophie Thatcher is really underrated. She was in The Boogeyman. She looked kind of like Billie Eilish in that movie. In this movie, she kind of looks like, I thought she was the girl that was in the New Strangers remake the entire time. It's something about the lips. Girls got crazy stuff going on with their lips these days. Holy fuck, where is my Adderall? Amazing personalities, fascinating characters, really amazing written dialogue, and Hugh Grant has, in my opinion, one of the top 5 performances in horror this entire year. He's so good in this movie, man. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm surprised to see him play this type of character. He didn't really play this type of character, obviously, but he was in a movie called The Gentleman by Guy Ritchie a couple years back, and he played an off-type role for him too, kind of a smarmy, just piece of crap dude, and he was amazing in that. As well. Every time he speaks, it's one of those performances, and again, going back to the sound, the voices, like sometimes someone would say a sentence and it would just, it sounded like they said it in the most quiet place on earth. It would just land on your ears in such a heavy way, like a foot stomping. And it's just crazy the way that they were able to direct your attention and focus it and make every word feel so important at certain moments and certain scenes of this. The first half of the film is where it's at for me. I mean, the dialogue is so good, and it's all about, there's a religious dialogue. These two girls show up to his house. He's a creepy weirdo, and he's being creepy weirdo, and that's in the trailer, so I can say that. But Trap, recently, in the trailer, they had the big twist that he was a serial killer right there in the trailer, but there was so much else going on. It's kind of like that with this. If you watch the trailer, it tells you pretty much what's going on, but it doesn't really get into the layers of it, kind of in a barbarian type of way. There's other surprises beneath. I don't know why I went Wesley Snipes. There's another world beneath. But yeah, that's kind of what this movie is. It's a layered movie with a lot of surprises or whatever. I would say not as many surprises as I expected. What I really enjoyed about the movie was in the first half when they spent this time having this dialogue with each other, and you still haven't figured out what his deal is. What's your fucking deal, pal? But there's obviously something off, something's amiss, and he's super creepy, and he's super like just mentally dominating in the way that he speaks. I don't really know how to explain it. He captures your attention for sure. And a lot of this stuff is him just going on rants and dialogues about religion, about this, about that. And it's not, in my opinion, one of those movies where it's trying to say something specific. So I don't think you have to worry about that by any means. I think it's just a conversation being had from many different viewpoints. And I think they do a good job of that for sure. And I think it's fascinating. There's a movie called The Sunset Limited that came out a couple years back, probably more like 10 years ago, with Samuel L. Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones. And it was an HBO special. And that's literally these two men sitting at a table talking violently about religion and God. And it's just an amazing, it's like watching a play unfold. And that's kind of what this is like here. If you've enjoyed this, go watch The Sunset Limited. I promise you, it's crazy good. It's some of the best acting you'll see, and amazing dialogue just like here. But there's a lot of unpacking of religion, what it means, why we follow it, things like that, done in a fascinating and passionate way. And the first half of the movie just nails it for me. I think in the second half of the movie, I don't know what I was hoping for, but it's one of those movies where you're going, I hope this goes somewhere as cool as it is right now, as it's promising. And it doesn't really do that necessarily. I think they fell into a couple of genre tropes here and there, but it's not wholly disappointing because, again, you're entranced by the screen because of the great performances of these three people, every single one of them. And there's still some surprises to be had for sure. A couple like, oh shit moments, didn't see that coming. But ultimately, I feel like I wanted the story to go somewhere more profound because the lead up was so good and it asked so many interesting questions. And it just kind of goes, in the end, I felt like it was like, okay, so that's what's going on there. And in that kind of croissant-y sort of, sure, if you want to say the word, elevated horror type of way, it does ask some profound questions when it leaves you thinking about what happened, what you saw, what the film landed on, what the characters landed on, how it all played out. It is more profound than that. But as a visceral thing that you're watching unpack on the screen and how everything unfolds and getting to the ending point, I feel like the last act didn't really live up to the first two acts, just in my opinion. But still an absolutely entertaining movie. Again, scary at times. I'm shocked it even got an R rating, to be honest with you. There's a couple reasons why specifically, which I understand, but I'm surprised they didn't wimp out and go, hey, it wouldn't be that hard to take this from what it is to make it a PG-13 film. And you gotta love A24 for that, for respecting their material enough to be like, no, let's tell this story as it is. And some other studios could learn some things from that for sure, but they continue to put out really interesting material. Whether it's overblown or not is another thing. I just think the performances definitely were not overblown. The performances are a 10 of 10. I'm going to give Heretic a 7.75. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in the fucking numericals about it. I know we normally don't do that, but I feel like a special little girl today, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a 7.75 because it's almost an 8, but I can't quite go there. Still a really good movie. Enjoyed it. Definitely recommend going to see it. It's a great mood movie. If it's storming outside, again, you're inside of this house as a character in itself. And it's such an interesting house and a set and all that stuff like that. So just a movie that's a total vibe, as the teenagers say. Definitely better than mid, no cap, dog. Flipping and scooting it on the T-Riz. dude, I'm sorry. I love your all's fucking faces. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and let me know what you thought about it down below. And I hope you guys have a great day. What are you gonna do on October 31st?
What are you gonna do on October 31st?
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you wanna know about the darkness?
I said, God damn.
God damn you, faggot!
I said, God damn.
A lot of people don't know the darkness that goes inside their hearts.
I said, God